We proudly present from Unmanned Life, live out of Madrid, right?
Yeah, correct. That is the place that I'm at the moment.
Nice. And at the beginning, we do a little introduction. So you can have like 1 minute to explain a little bit about yourself, about the startup and what you're doing and why this is like something new to the world, I would say.
Definitely. So to start with, thank you very much, Max and Florian. So for everyone who's listening, I'm Jorge Muñoz. I'm the Vice President for business and marketing at Unmanned Life. Right, at Unmanned Life, we're working on the future of the so-called autonomous everything. Right, this is a concept, of course, but the reality is that we are a software platform that enables autonomous robotics to work together, completely agnostic to the hardware itself. So we can manage autonomously fleets of drones, ground vehicles, the legged robots that are very famous now. We can even integrate into the platform human beings so they can collaborate with robots in different spaces. Now we will see more and more this concept of the cobots, right? So collaborative robots. And it is important to have one system that is coordinating in a safety way all this, let's call it orchestration. So our focus at Unmanned Life is basically orchestrating robotics.
All right. So I have one question in the beginning. Your company is called Unmanned Life, and we are humankind. And first, when I heard your name, I was a little bit afraid of that our companies already started to replace us. But when we take a deeper look, it's not like a replacing, it's just an reorganization and more like a focusing of the jobs. So that jobs that doesn't have to be done by a human being can be replaced, and the time saving can be like way more promising for the world than it is. Because I was reading books about that, and I'm so afraid that like in a few years we are not necessary anymore, and this is not where your company is going in, right?
Of course it's not. And you're not the first person who told me about the name. Sometimes people are afraid, or sometimes people make fun of it. It's Unmanned Life. The truth is that unmanned is because of the vehicles are unmanned. Vehicles that drive themselves. And the whole concept of the company is not replacing human beings, but is giving us the opportunity of creating new jobs, new revenue streams. We focus more on valuable tasks and give to the robots this repetitive task that is not adding any value. We have something that cannot be replaced by any robots, that is intelligence, the real intelligence. People are talking about artificial intelligence. Yes, it's true that it's going to be way advanced, but we have something that cannot be replaced, and
or not even done by humankind, right? Exactly. Because you have these drones, when they like this safety drones, I would say, like you had like this one showcase on the Hannover Messe where you presented like this drone which went out for life saving, which can be really, really risky for human beings when they go out in a helicopter or something like that, and a drone can fly out, and the worst thing that can happen is that the drone drowns, right? But there's no human life in danger.
Exactly. So what we are doing at the moment will impact society or our life basically in, let's say, in three main aspects. And I was presenting this at Hannover Messe last week. So first of all, the aspects of social, the social aspects, and as you mentioned, this technology can save life, but can make our life easier, and will create, basically new jobs, and will give us this opportunity of feel that you're doing something valuable, right? Then it will also impact economically. So new revenue streams will come out of this new world that we're building. And then there is the impact on the environment, which is very important too. So here we're using robots that are fully electrical, and this will reduce the carbon footprint for sure. for example, for tasks of delivering, or this now there is companies. It's not our focus yet, but we can also work on this, on collecting CO2 emissions and so on. So this technology, the autonomous everything, will impact all the aspects of our life, economically, socially, and also environmentally.
But in order to understand your product a bit better, Jorge, is it true what you're doing is, I just want to understand it once more. If there is a certain amount of UAVs, UGVs, however you want to call them, so robots, I think that's the household name for it. Your system, your software, Unmanned Life, is there to have one platform, so one piece of software where you can control all the robots and where you can let the robots work together either with each other or with people. So you're the single software where all the robots from different manufacturers can be integrated, and so also, as you mentioned, controlled in a safe way so that they don't harm human beings. Is that correct?
That's correct. There is a concept called, we just explained, that is called the system of system, and it's our approach. It's one system controlling multiple systems. And you mentioned robotics, but don't forget that these robots are collecting data too, and someone have to manage this data. So we manage the robot itself, the hardware. We are managing the data that these robots are generating. We are also managing all the systems that are around, because don't forget that our platform can also integrate with sensors, IoT sensors, business information systems, cameras, and also collect data from there and send this data to the robots so they can behave accordingly. And we can also integrate with analytic platforms to increase.
This is why 5G is so important for you, right? Sorry for jumping in there. This is why you have 5G use case at the Vira. This is why you are at Munich right now in the tech lab. This is why data needs to go from one place to the other fast.
Correct.
Right? Because you are like the how would I say it? Like a platform where robots can understand each other, so they have different languages, and the information needs to go from one to the other, and that fast. And this is why 5G is necessary for you, right? Sorry, just to explain it, because I always have to push the 5G tech lab a little bit more.
No, it's a great topic that you just touched on. So 5G is key, not only because of the data processing that we need to do, but remember that if you want to manage a fleet of robots, there is not only one, but here we're talking about multiple robots. Just to give you an example, in Vienna, in the city of Vienna, we have a project with the firefighters, the city of Vienna, in there, where drones are doing search and rescue. So there we have 3 drones to control these 3 drones that are sending very heavy data at the end of the day, which is video. And we on top of that, on the video, we are processing an analytic. We will need a reliable connectivity, and 5G is key here to do so. The software is not in the robot, and this is one of our differentiators. So basically, we know our software is not running on the computer inside of the robot, but it's running on a virtual computer on the cloud or so on. So it's one software controlling multiple robots. For that, you will need.
So the computational power of the robot doesn't need to be super heavy. It doesn't need to be loaded with a huge, computer. But it's the information is in a very raw way sent to the cloud, and where your system is also running, and then it does the computation there, and then the let's say the refined data is then, or the refined data and the commands are then sent back to the various robots, right?
That's correct, Florian. And actually what's going to happen, and we've seen it already, what makes a robot expensive so far is the computer that is on top of it. But if you don't need that computational power, the prices of the robot will decrease. And what is important is the intelligence that is running on the cloud, for example, and it's our case. So 10 years ago, 5 years ago, a drone was super expensive, probably 5 times more expensive than what it is now. And we will see that drones will become a commodity, and our clients will be changing drones or robots every 2-3 years for a new version of it. But what is important is the intelligence that is controlling these robots, because the robots at the end won't have any computational power, or at least not any, but they will have some, of course, but no as much as is needed now to run a software. And thanks to 5G, we can enable this.
Very cool. Wow. Again, I learned something. Or how we would say in German, again, what learned. Okay.
So to sum it up a little bit for our listeners, what you're doing is basically you are a software provider for B2B clients. Sorry, I have some ambulance in the background. So you are a software provider for B2B clients who want to connect their robots with each other in a fast and uncomplicated way, right? So it's secure and fast, probably. And one question I have, which sectors do you work in? Like I mentioned before, the life-saving, like the ambulance, what I just heard, that could have been done by your software, basically. But also, what is your field? Like, where is your software kicking in? Is there like no boundaries? Can you go everywhere, or?
Yeah, it's also a very good question. Just one step forward. Remember that we also give the intelligence to the robots. So we make them work together, but these robots, we're giving a brain to the robots to do this autonomously, right? So they are intelligent enough to work together. But the importance of the platform is the intelligence. And on the sectors, it's true that we're agnostics as well to the sectors. But the truth is that we're still a very young company, and we cannot do everything. Of course, we would love to, but we need to focus on something. Exactly, later. I think that will be it is on our roadmap, and we can talk about the roadmap later on. But for the moment, we need to focus. We have use cases for public safety and emergency response. So this is under the whole concept of smart cities. So for responders, for police, firefighters, defense as well. And on the other hand, we have use cases for surveillance, inspections, logistics. So these are some of the sectors that we're tackling at the moment, right? We're also building a whole portfolio for agriculture, precisely on forestry, where drones will be planting seeds. This is a project that we have in Canada. We'll be mapping and monitoring the growth of the plants. So every country is also funny because every country has a different, let's say, focus for this market. So let's say that in Canada, the focus is more on the forestry, agriculture. In Spain, we're doing a lot on utilities, surveillance, inspections. Also, we have some use cases on the automotive sector for logistics and the delivering of component parts for cars. And then on ports. And I will finish here with the ports because I think and I believe that the first sector that will have a real adoption of these end-to-end autonomous solutions will be the ports. Because first of all, it's a closed environment regulated by their own authorities. So each port has an authority. That means that they can even talking about the drones, they can even regulate their airspace in a certain height. So they can have drones flying in ports, and we have seen it already. We have delivered 2 weeks ago our very first product at the port of Bristol in the UK, where drones were doing surveillance rounds for security, but also asset tracking. So tracking containers and goods inside of the ports. So basically, we're doing everything.
But it's actually good.
It is very good, yeah, indeed.
It's up to the imagination, to the business. They just have to dream it, and you can probably fulfill it.
Correct.
You mentioned one point, and then we can start into our. We have like 3 main pillars in that podcast. So the first pillar is like the what is what questions. So a little bit the basics around your company. And you mentioned already that you are a young company. So my first question would be like, when was the founding date? When did you guys found your company, your baby?
Sure. So the idea came in 2016, but it was a different focus that we had at the moment.
What was that?
In 2016, we thought that we start with the idea of even building the drones and robots ourselves. And little by little, we were shaping the idea based on what the market said. And my background is on marketing and business too, but only on marketing. And I believe that marketing now is playing a key role in every company in the world. And based off what the marketing is telling you, you start shaping. And we realized that there was not such a agnostic platform out there that allows what we're doing. So little by little, and doing proof of concepts and so on, we have came with this new approach of a seamless orchestration of autonomous robotics. That is what we do. And this came through last year. So let's say that we've been working on the technology from 2016, and we did some changes in the company last year, and then now we have this new approach based on let's say on the old technology, but we have developed something new. So there is two answers for your questions. 2016 was the founding date, but the real concept comes through last year.
And like, how did the pandemic harm or help you to gain your company or grow your company? Because like the tech solutions and also like everything that is inside the transportation, for example, I don't know, like also transportation tracking. How did the pandemic help or harm your company, or did it doesn't have any effects?
No, of course it has a huge effect. We working, as I said, with autonomous robots and drones. Yeah. This was a concept that was very scary for many people before pandemic. And thanks to the pandemic, we saw the real value that these robots and precisely drones can add to society in many ways. And then the acceptance after or during the pandemic was huge. There was let's say an increase on the demand during the pandemic and after the pandemic for use cases with autonomous robots. So it sounds bad, but in a way, the pandemic has helped the business to grow in the way that on the acceptance, I would say, right, which is one of the main blocking points. Also regulation, because then the regulators find out that indeed we will need these systems to be working around us. So they since the pandemic, they have been focusing on easing the regulations or creating better regulations for.
But you shouldn't say it's bad. Actually, the pandemic itself was bad. But if the situation helped you, in terms of the acceptance, for example, it's not that bad, right? A lot of people suffered, and if somebody didn't suffer or even got like a hand to help up like a little bit more or to push to push it a little bit further, I think that's great. And even your company was founded before the pandemic. You didn't have like one of those shady mask companies who enriched themselves by making people poor by buying masks in like for 30 cents and selling them for €9. So what your company is doing was way, like, as you mentioned, it was founded way before the pandemic, and it's not in a way bad that it helped the infrastructure of your company. Let me say that straight out.
Thank you.
Because we always have like founders in here, and they're like really shy when it comes to the pandemic and say, it was okay for us. Yeah, just say it. Just say it is okay for you, because a lot of companies, it was okay for a lot of companies, like big companies suffered maybe, but or let's say event companies suffered, but not everyone is suffering. And it's also interesting how like the world shuts down but also like companies find their creative ways out and through that pandemic.
Of course.
So my second question is, when you founded in 2016, always when I meet you guys, there are always new people. So one question I have is, how many people, like how many employees do you have already?
So far today, we are about 30 people.
Wow.
We are hiring because the demand is increasing. So we're planning to end up the year with around 40.
Wow, that's amazing. That's a great number, actually. It's actually not. It's not like a. How would you say it? It's not too fast, Florian. It's not too fast. It's like a appropriate number for like being in the game for 6 years.
Yes.
Right. And how many founders do you have? Like it's you and.
So with three. Is our CEO Nicolas Silverglade, our CTO King Clement, and myself. So basically, we have the best of all the worlds. The marketing side, the CTO, of course, is the technical guy, and our CEO comes from a political background, actually, pretty much involved in innovation at a European level.
That's good.
So we have a very good mix of ideas. Yeah,
cool.
That's very, very smart.
I didn't know that that your CTO. What's his name again?
Our CTO is Kim Clement.
Yeah, I didn't know that Kim is
Dutch, right?
He's one of the founders. I didn't know that.
Yeah, he's one of the founders.
Cool.
That was the guy on the Hannover Messe as well, right?
Yes,
and he's Dutch.
Yeah, Flemish, Belgian, but he's
Belgium. All right. Because I studied there, and like the accent was very close to the Dutch accent, actually.
Yeah. But and he was speaking Dutch the whole way. There was a lot of Dutch people there in
of course.
But yeah.
And so we have like the founder number, the foundation date, the number of employees. And one thing, like you don't have to answer that question, but one of our questions is like, how much money do you already, like not what you made so far? Don't say that. What is your goal this year?
This year? Over a million, I can tell you.
Over 1 million?
And we're in the good way to reach that by the end of the year.
Nice.
Yeah.
That's a good to know. That's a great number.
Great number.
So those were the key facts, like my first pillar. The second pillar goes right over to Florian. And I think I opened up a door because we talked about the numbers already. Yeah. So your first question, Florian.
So yeah, we were already talking about financials. And can you tell me a bit more, Jorge, about the financing of your company? Are you bootstrapped or have you collected money so far? And also, what are your plans for the future?
Of course. So we have closed a round last October 2021.
Okay.
Where the leading investor was Telus from Canada. Cool. And the second one was Wayra, actually. So we're a Wayra founded company. And then private investors. At the moment, we're preparing ourselves for the Series A. That was a late seed round that we have collected last year. And now we're preparing for the Series A, which should come around January 2023. Of course, to get to the Series A, there is so many checks that you have to have in your company, like recurring revenue, not only one contract but multiple contracts. Now we're preparing all the documents. It's a good shot. We don't want to raise a small Series A, we're preparing for it.
Okay, very good to know. So hopefully we will help you with the follow-up, but let's wait for the due diligence, right?
Of course.
Yes.
Of course, but we're expecting you to come around.
I hope so too. Also very interesting is you have already talked about this very briefly, but when it comes to the product history, can you tell us a bit more about the history of the product? So when you started to think about it in the early 2016, was it immediately clear, okay, we want to do orchestration of different robots? or did you have a pivot at some point in time? How did the product history look like, or how does the product history look like?
Sure. As I said in the beginning, the idea was to build drones and make them autonomous, not even thinking about integrating those drones with other robots.
Can I ask one question?
Sure.
No.
The drone? No. Shut up. The drone you have in at the Vira.
Yeah.
Is it self-built? Is that one of the? No,
this is a model. It's a model AI. It's called. It's an American company that belongs to Qualcomm, and it's an R&D drone, but very reliable. We can tell that it's, let's say, the best one for indoor positioning at the moment.
Nice, because I was wondering, do you have any like leftovers from your start? Because you had to start with some robots, right? You maybe have some drones already flying around in the world, right?
We have a couple of things in-house still, some old robots, and also somewhere in the space.
Nice, beautiful.
But yeah, we have some there.
Okay, sorry, that was already my question.
So the question that Florian has was the beginnings of the company. So yes, we thought to build the drones, then to make them autonomous. Then since it was a very young company at the moment, we were trying to fit into the market base also, and not only on what the market was requesting, but what the customers were requesting and where the opportunities were, which I don't think it was a mistake, but it wasn't a right move, because at the end you would try to please everyone without thinking into a product. So we jump into the postal industry, not with drones, but with ground vehicles for the sortation of parcels. So we did 3 projects with different postal companies in the Netherlands, the other one was also in the Netherlands, and in Switzerland. Very successful. We won some awards and recognition for what we did, but we lost focus there. And at the end, we rely on the hardware, and the full potential of the platform was not shown there. And then little by little, we start thinking about the idea that, okay, many customers have different robots, but they have to manage those robots with different interfaces, and they cannot really work together. And what if we build something that connects all of these systems and robotics? And this is how we came out with this idea of the seamless orchestration of autonomous robotics. Precisely with a project that we won 2 years ago, but because of pandemic, and this is the bad effect of the pandemic actually, that the contract has taken way longer than expected, and the delivery. So we won a contract with SEAT, part of the Volkswagen Group, and Telefonica. And in there, they ask to connect these 2 robots, a ground vehicle and a drone. And it's the whole idea of, okay, can we do this? Can we really connect different type of robotic systems and into one platform? And then we have been working on it since, and so far it's very successful. We can also mix different type of robots of the same kind, meaning drones. So in Vienna, we have these model AIs mixed with DJI drones, because DJIs can carry heavier payload to do the delivery, emergency response, and the smaller drones can do easily the scanning, searching for the victim. So we can mix different type of drones too. So this is how we get to a point of, let's build this seamless orchestration platform.
But also, like, DJI drones are really handy to fly. Like everybody, not everybody, but they are very, very close to the B2C market. And like I have 2 of them, and I can already fly them. So I want to present to the listener how close you are to the network, to the user, the end user.
So it's true. DJI for us is the most robust drone company out there. We feel very comfortable and confident when we work with DJIs. But of course, unfortunately, there is a huge question on the security of the data that the DJIs are collecting. So depending of where you go, starting with in America, just to give you an example, we are not allowed to fly DJI drones. So it's out of the market out there. In the UK,
why is it out of the market in the US?
It's banned because it's a Chinese company, and
the brand is banned from the US.
The drones.
Wow, I didn't know that.
Yeah, and no fly DJI drones over there. In the UK, and precisely the governments, they have noticed that, again, is a very robust platform, so they're okay if we fly drones, DJI drones, but the camera should be from another provider and not a DJI.
What?
This is for the security. This is what we've been told. So
you're going back to robotics then, because you have to deplug the camera, which is not easy.
Exactly. Super complex. In that case, it's better to work with another platform, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
I mean, with another hardware. There is other robust hardwares out there, like Parrots, Tarots, but yeah, for us, the most robust is the DJI. Indeed.
All
right.
Cool. Now we were talking about the product development and where you started, and now it's the autonomous or the Unmanned Life platform, the autonomous everything, so to speak. But regarding marketing, Jorge, what's your next steps here? What's the next customers or the next industry you want to tackle? So forward looking, also a bit of on the marketing perspective, where do you want to go here?
Sure, and I think I'm the right guy to answer that.
Yeah,
I'm the market guy. So our strategy is a bit I will say groundbreaking or cutting edge, because we go into market with the telcos, right? So as we were saying, 5G is key for us, and we're monetizing this 5G for the telcos. Our new strategy is building the robotic platforms for the telcos. So also the telcos, you guys have been selling, I say you guys, you're from Guaira, but yeah, Telefónica. You've been selling network SIM cards, phones for quite a long time. But now your strategy has changed to become a technology provider, right? But the story, like, we know that building the technology in-house is not an easy thing.
No.
Slightly when you try to tackle a lot of market. I'm sorry, and also there is the ambulance passing by here in Madrid. If you hear the background.
Yeah, no more. It's not that loud.
Okay, great. So our strategy is to go hand to hand with the telcos, leveraging the 5G and other products that you guys have, like cybersecurity, analytics too. And the sectors in the future, definitely now we want to have a strong focus on utilities and on automotive. I think that will be the future, because these are two, sectors that are needed, that are needing robotics for sure. And they have already implemented robotics. So let's talk about the automotive.
Yeah.
In there, we see that in all these assembly lines, they have multiple robots already working in. But they don't have one system that can control all of them. So definitely that will be, let's say, the next big sector for us.
Yeah, I absolutely agree. I think the industries that are already working with robots or UAVs, they slowly notice that for each and every robot and UAV, they do have a separate system, and that this is not manageable in the long run. So I do agree that I think that's the most promising part for you guys. Yeah,
indeed. And remember that in here, GSMA already is estimating that by 2023, we're going to have 70 million commercial drones, industrial commercial drones deployed worldwide.
Yeah.
And also there is a report that is saying that 37 million robotics will be also deployed in industries, industrial robots, by 2023. Each of these robots speaks a language, which is the operating system that is running on top of them, right? On the case of the drones, is a flight controller. On the case of the robots, is the operating system, the robotic operating systems that they have on top of them. If they don't have the same system, they cannot really communicate to each other. And given that you are just a manufacturer, and in your plant you have one robot that is doing the delivery of component parts internally, another one that is doing the assembly, and another one that is just doing inspections of the site. If they have come from different hardware manufacturers, they cannot really work together. They cannot work together in the same space. They're going to be already crashing, and it's not efficient. And there is another level of complexity that is that each of these robots has an interface. So if you're deploying 10 different type of robots, you will end up with 10 different interfaces. Our solution is orchestrating on the ground, but also on the interfaces. So you can manage all your robotic systems from one management interface.
Okay. Very impressive. And I do agree with I do have the same opinion. Awesomeness. So, Max, back to your question.
Yes. So the last pillar of the questions is more a bit about your personal life, I would say. It's also always nice for the listeners to have a view behind the curtains, have a better insight who's really behind the company, who's really running the company, who's like the soul of the company, and where's the soul coming from. So your position is what again?
Vice President for Business and Marketing.
And marketing. So if I would give you a title, would it be CMO, like this?
It's something in between.
And more.
CMO
more plus.
And CBO, because I'm doing something that I think we will see more in the future. That is one person leading both departments, because they need to be connected and with the same vision. And as I said, marketing is now becoming the core of the business, and not just a helper. Let's call it this way.
Yeah. And how did you get here? Like, what was your way? Like, let's jump 15 years back in time. And 15. What was your... Pardon?
15 years back.
15, yeah. Okay. Yeah. Not 50.
No,
15 years back in time. And what was your point there? And what did you think you're going to end up doing later? And what are you doing now? And how did you get to the point where you are right now?
Sure. 15 years ago, I was 17 years old.
And I was high school.
It's when I finished high school, and then I went to London. I was living in London by the time. Nice. Of course, I did not imagine that this will be my life. I always was thinking about marketing by then, but no innovation at all. Then I finished my career in marketing, and I started working for such and such, which is advertising agency, very well.
Yeah.
So I was doing more of the account managing for big brands from Nestlé, Lexus cars. But I felt that everything was in a box. There was no room for innovation, actually. But I didn't realize that was what I was looking for. There was no room to propose things, because everything came already from the packet, and we were there just to execute. So the idea came. I knew the CEO, Nicholas. he was building the whole network already for the to build this company. And at the time, he also have a forum it was called the European Young Innovator Forum. It was more an association, an NGO based in Brussels to help basically innovators to get public exposure and events and even funding. So I start helping him on the European Young Innovator Forum first, out of just to build network for myself too on the marketing side, and I start helping him on the marketing side of the Unmanned Life when it was just started. And then I realized that was the thing that I wanted to do. So I quit my job and then I jumped full on board in Unmanned Life.
This was so far this was the most straightforward story. So because we ask all of the founders more or less the same question, and we definitely do always ask this one. Well, not always, but I think out of 20 times we ask it 19 times. So, and this was the most straightforward answer because it was pretty. You know each other for a long time, and it feels like more or less at the beginning of when you met Nicholas, there was something going on. You knew more or less, right?
Yeah, I saw it. And again, I think, I don't know if you have the opportunities to meet Kim. I think you have Florian and also Max. He's a genius. He's CTO of our company. He's someone who knows a lot about technology. And talking to him, I say, okay, this is something important.
And also speaking in terms of stereotypes, he doesn't look like a CTO. He does not look like a guy who knows too much about like the technological background. He looks more like a marketing guy.
Really?
And he also and I think he's also pretty good in selling.
Oh yeah.
Like when I saw him talking to your customers or people on the Hannover Messe, he was pretty confident, and he was not like one of those shy guys who's not able to speak, like one of those, as I said, stereotypes. He was like really bold and straightforward. This is why I can truly understand why you want to work with him.
Agree. He's super good at speaking, and he knows a lot, but he also knows how to communicate. And it's true that it's not something that is common on the tech world. Sometimes the technical people are shy and introverts, but Kim is different. So, and then on the other hand, you have Nicholas, who he is someone that is very good also at connecting people. And then I realized the power of this combination. And I admired them both a lot. So that's why, I think we came with this whole concept, and so far, so good.
Nice. So, speaking from jumping back in time, also one thing which is pretty interesting for all the founders that are listening to our podcast, or not even founders, like everyone, what were your 3 learnings within the last, I would say, 10 years that really brought you to that point that you're here right now? Can be bad ones, can be good ones, but like major rules in your life that you have implemented right now.
Don't be afraid to try new things. I will say sometimes if you're comfortable and this might sound like a repetitive thing that everyone, I'm sure they say, but it's the reality at least of how I've been living so far, right? Mm-hmm. So and I've been living through innovation and doing new things and trying new things. Also, don't be shy to ask, and Florian can tell you, like literally I follow up every week with them and with everyone. So I think this is also important. Be confident of who you are and what you have as a product, right? And I always say it also to my team. I live by the rule of everything can be improved.
Yeah.
Maybe this could be a bad habit, because sometimes comes the time that you need to close things. But I always believe that literally everything can be improved. So be confident, trust yourself and the product for the founders, and keep open the door for improvement all the time.
All right. And this was the first podcast, as you already mentioned, Florian. It's a straightforward podcast, and we made it almost through all of our questions, which is actually nice. Which is actually pretty nice. So you already mentioned, Jorge, that you are looking for people. In what field do you looking for people, and where can they apply? Because we always do a shout out and say, hey, the startups we are having in our podcast, they always have open roles, yes. And maybe they can apply for it.
Of course. We have several open positions at the moment, most likely on the tech side of things. So we're looking for engineers, a software developer engineer, robotic engineers too, front-end engineer, and I think, there is other positions up there, a field engineer too. You can apply it on our website, or check also Wayra's website, Wayra's Germany. They have our positions up there. On the business side of things, I'm also looking for people to help me out with the business development. Maybe it's not as much as the tech team is looking for, and just looking for two, maybe. And you can also apply on the same sites. So again, we're looking for very open-minded, innovative people in all the sense.
Nice. Jorge, thank you very much that you have been that you are chasing us for over 2 months. It's not that we didn't want to do it, but we wanted to do it properly because you're very, very important. And we already created a nice video, which is also on the Wayra webpage, where all the people who are interested in to see what the drone is doing, and they're not from Munich, and can check out the 5G Tech Lab, which is already, again, a little commercial. 5G Tech Lab, you can check it out in the heart of Munich. There you can see your showcase, but you can also watch the video on the Wayra website. And thank you. Thank you very much for doing this with us. Thank you for sharing the insights with us. And one last question from our side. We would love to invite you again. Would you like to come back?
Of course, but in Munich, not online. So
yes. In the nice podcast studio we were.
Of course, I saw it. I saw it last time that I was there, and literally, I want to live the full experience of doing the podcast with you guys.
Yeah. Okay.
So we do that.
So next time we see you in the podcast studio in Munich. Thank you very much, guys.
Thank you
very, very much. Have a great day. Bye-bye.
You like what you heard? Then spread the word and share it with your friends. This was Startcast, your friendly startup podcast from the neighborhood, powered by Wayra.